Thank you, Simon. The seventh story of the evening is Breathing Exercises by Elizabeth Murphy. Elizabeth grew up in Chatham, Kent, where she regularly saw dead people. She used her gift for automatic writing to gain a degree in English literature from Birmingham University. After spending her 20s working in big business, she fled to Gloucestershire 7 years ago and became a tree farmer. Elizabeth's other skills include long-distance walking, telekinesis, and levitation, which would be unusual if we weren't in Stroud, of course. Please welcome to the stage to read Breathing Exercises, Elizabeth Murphy.
Breathing exercises. If I were not me, I would be rendered speechless. You make such a mercurial, Hamlet, and your delivery is so intuitive, and the nasality of your Camden boyhood has all but disappeared. It is such a pleasure to be working with you again. Too many years have passed since our last collaboration. Of course, I have continued in my servitude to the theatre. Sadly, you did not appear in any of my productions. You dropped out of my directorial realm so suddenly. The advent of children necessitates the mundanity of seeking a regular revenue stream, but you were so close to making it big. I know it's difficult to make a life treading the boards, but did you really have to tread the pavements instead? A career as a postman is so utterly pedestrian. All is not lost. If we combine our talents again, we can create something life-altering. I remember when I first directed you in your salad days. Your raw talent won you a rare, grant-funded entrance into the academy, but left you painfully exposed when compared to your more formally trained fellow students. It must have been so tiresome returning to your parents' council flat each night. It would have been like spending all day in the company of the bard, but returning to sleep with Sheila Delaney. Your dreadful parents thwarted your big opportunity, siphoning off your grant cheque before the nascent term had even started. The shame of being asked to leave for not paying your fees was unbearable. You must remember that your departure was not from lack of talent, just lack of funds. Perhaps you should have considered hitching up with one of the older actresses. It would have provided funding and a wealth of untapped experience and contacts. We probably need to discuss the night you were arrested. I encouraged you to immerse yourself in the actor's world. I told you to make friends now, as friendships are needed to get the parts, or your gift would remain veiled and unappreciated. Your fellow students wanted you to join them. You were invited. Your financial shortfall was becoming such a drag, and I was almost certain that someone would pick up the cost of your taxi fare once you got to the bar. That damned cabbie wouldn't be persuaded about your friends inside with money. He just locked the doors on us and drove us straight round to the police station. It was obvious to the constable that you were not criminal class, although I am sure you could have played that part very well, should you have chosen to do so. He, in turn, drove you round to the hospital, where it was made clear that my company was unwelcome. Blasted pills. We didn't speak for years. Without me, you were discharged out of hospital, straight onto the path to mediocrity. You met your wife at a dance hall. She treated your acting as something of an embarrassment and was not impressed that you were between roles. She had no understanding of vocation, and your calling went unsupported. She encouraged you to stay in your steady job in the postal service, lumbering along the same streets every day, delivering endless brown envelopes containing demands for gold and postcards from other people's holidays, which you could never afford. She didn't approve of your Catholicism, which, to my mind, is such a beautiful religion. The sweet oscillation between the lows of guilt and the highs of absolution. She dreaded seeing your car parked outside the local church. It was a bad sign. Mortifying was her description of your Passion Play production. The procession through the town was not observed by any of your family. The chill wind excused them from watching you get nailed to the cross on the local recreation ground. You died beautifully. I managed to get through to you for a short while around your mother's passing a few years back, but your wife soon blocked me out. Further separation would only be detrimental to both of us. Our endeavour is too important. So, you've been laid off from your postal rounds. Erratic deliveries and questions over missing items exposed your eccentricities to unsympathetic souls. Your wife has taken on further drudgery, which, on the positive, means that she is absent from the house much more. Now we have time to cultivate your craft. You can finally dispense with those essence-quelling pills outside of her scrutiny. You are free, which means that we can toil together again. The major drain on your time has been the children. What a feat of acting the last 6 years has been. No one could have ever guessed that the tears of happiness, the knitted brows of anxiety, the roars of laughter covered up a feeling of nothingness. Looking at those children stirred no more real joy in you than that desiccating job you have been carrying out daily. You worried that your wife saw through it, but she was so absurdly wrapped up in those urchins that she was blind to your indifference. She even believes that you should look after the imps while she works. This irritation is beginning to ooze into our rehearsal time. Your cacophonous children's interruptions are becoming too wearisome. Surely they can get themselves some provisions from the cupboard. I'm sure they are capable of slavering some margarine on a cracker or two to stave off their incessant hunger. How will we ever get this play off the ground with this insistent chatter? Do not respond. Light a cigarette. Look straight ahead at the television. Ignore, ignore, ignore. Do not get out of your chair. Well done. The moment has passed. We can get back to our run-through, but we might have to consider a more permanent solution to the disturbances. So how about moving today's rehearsal to the garage, or as we shall call it from now on, the studio. We can start to set the scene properly and work with the props. Quickly now, shut and lock the door before those irritating pucks start to bother us again. I knew it wouldn't be long. Who knew such small paws could bang so loudly? Don't go to them. Oh, well played. Your rage is like a young Burton performing Osborne. You really haven't lost your touch after all these years. It is It's impossible to concentrate here with those mosquitoes of yours buzzing around. We should consider finding somewhere else to go. Turn on the car engine and let it run while we think of a place where we can find peace. We need rehearsal space and time, unrestricted and unlimited by your lacklustre surroundings and dreary ruminations. We must head towards the denouement. Let us practice our breathing exercises. Are you tired, my muse? Sleep has been so difficult of late. Well, sleep on. In our dreams, we are inseparable.